Weekday mornings starting at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on ESPN2.
The Players' Championship on ESPN.
No, he didn't, did he?
Yes, he did.
Rory McIlroy returns to TPC Sawgrass to defend his title against an elite field of the world's best players.
Knows what it takes to win this trophy.
There's more pressure.
Oh, no.
More risk.
We were watching miracles unfold there for a sec.
WCZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Scott Tyson here with the 97.7 ESPN The Zone Sportsman at GSE semifinal tournament basketball action. Despite having 4 players in double figures, 4-seeded UAH couldn't overcome a slow start last night on the road against top seed West Alabama as they fall 80-72. Quentin Tolles led the Chargers with 16. On the women's side, top seeded UAH will get 22 points and 10 rebounds from GSE Player of the Year Lily Wilkin as they down Trevecca 80-61. The Chargers will host the GSE championship game Sunday at 1 p.m. taking on Union. SEC women's tournament action. 11-seed Alabama would get 23 points from Jessica Timmons. The Crimson Tide advanced to the quarterfinals with a 76-64 win over 6-seed Tennessee. Alabama will face 3rd-seed Texas tonight at 7:30. 24th-ranked Ole Miss, too much for Auburn last night as they move on to the quarterfinals with a 73-57 win. Make sure and download the 97.7 ESPN The Zone app today.
You need to be more like a dog.
Like what you guys are doing. You've got your fingertip on the pulse of your listeners. You guys know what they're talking about.
Be a dog.
God bless the show. You are the Messiah.
We need more dogs.
This is the best show on radio.
The big dog, Thom Abraham, is here with you.
Hey, I see you. Hey, I see you, dog.
So settle in and get your bark on. That's my dog. Now live, here he is. The big dog, Thom Abraham.
How you doing? 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 Look, I don't speak Spanish.
I don't know how to say this, so I'm going to choose my words very carefully. I think you're a psycho.
Do you know who I am?
I mean, that guy sounds like Dale McPherson farting into Miles Davis' trumpet.
I guess I'm on here. Am I on? Can somebody respond?
Get off my lawn.
I have to drag my Yankee ass out of here.
What? Oh, that can only mean one thing. Football Friday! Football music throughout the show today. No matter what time of year it is. Doesn't matter. Still got spring ball getting guys started around the SEC. Got the UFL. Camp is open there. They got a couple of weeks before that opens. Got free agency. Officially on Monday. Trades in the NFL. Got new NFL uniforms coming out next week. There's always something going on in the world of football. Ain't no off season. Football. It's also the final weekend of regular season action in the SEC basketball season. Is jockeying for seeding, and next week's men's tournament is on the table. Can still just throw this out there. Florida, of course, is the number 1 seed. But there is a 3-team race for the 2, and that is important, really, because the 2 seed will avoid the Gators until the final, if, in fact, the chalk follows, right? It could end up that way. You don't want to catch Florida right now. They've kind of separated themselves from the rest of the league. And so you look at Florida, and as the clear one, they have won the regular season title in the SEC. But then there's Alabama and Arkansas, who are both at 12-5. And Tennessee at 11-6. And Alabama has the tiebreaker with Arkansas. The Vols have the Doors on Rocky Top, and the Hogs are at Missouri. But none of that matters as long as the Tide takes care of business tomorrow at home against Auburn. If they just take care of that tomorrow, that's it. They are the 2 seed, and that's the end of that. The voice of Alabama Hoop is Chris Stewart, and he'll be joining us at the bottom of the hour. He'll be joining us on WZZN TV as well, so you can see his smiling face there as we talk a little bit of hoop with him. Now, for Auburn, a win gives them a great shot to make the big dance. Although Grumpy says that Tiger fans don't care if they make the tournament or not this year. And I'm not sure that I agree with that. I mean, you get in the tournament, you don't know what's going to happen. You get in the tournament, and then anything can happen once you get into that thing. So I'm not sure that they feel that way, really. But if they lose, that's a 15th loss. David Moulton told us earlier in the week that he thinks they're out unless they make it all the way to the SEC championship game next Sunday, because a 15-loss team has never made the tournament as an at-large team in the madness. And by the way, speaking of the madness, we have the Talent Heating and Air 97.7 ESPN The Zone Bracket Challenge presented by Cherokee Ridge ready for you, so you can go ahead and jump on in no matter where you're listening to the show. This isn't just for this isn't just for listeners, in Huntsville or in Alabama. Those of you listening in Winchester or anywhere else, you get in on this deal as well. Get this. The winner of our bracket gets a full family membership to Cherokee Ridge, and that includes the golf, the tennis, the pool, the pickleball. I'm sure they got pickleball. Probably on the same tennis courts. They probably got them lined out for pickleball as well. You get it all there. I mean, that's a pretty sweet deal. That's a good deal. And you can go ahead and jump. Look, it's a $4,000 value. It's a full family membership to beautiful Cherokee Ridge. All right. So you can get the link to the tournament. You can get it at the Facebook page for 97.7 ESPN. You can get it on my X page, I would imagine, here momentarily at some particular point in time. We'll have it there for you, and you can pick it up there as well and hit the link. Works out good. At the top of the 11, Connor O'Gara from the OG Kickoff podcast is back with SEC QB rankings going into spring ball. Get into that with him, and we'll talk about some of the other college football quarterback battles that are going on around the country. Believe it or not, they do play football in other places. Just ask those people in the Big Ten, and you can get it there as well. We'll talk to him about that. And look, let's take a look on Rocky Top of the coaching staffs there as well. Now our number one is wide open. No, that's not true. Our number one is not wide open because we have Chris Stewart come up at the bottom of the hour. But you can jump in now at 256-576-4977. That number is good wherever, however you consume the show. We got a text window. That's open as well. We'll read and react to those on the air. 732-9TA-SHOW, 732-982-7469. And finally, you can watch the show as well, WZZN TV, and the YouTube, the Facebook. You can get it at my X feed. That's at Thom Abraham Show. The WBC is in full swing today. That would be the World Baseball Classic. As I learned earlier this week, I have to explain all these acronyms that I throw out there. The World Baseball Classic is in full swing. The U.S. team is playing Brazil tonight in a game that will be on Big Fox at 7 o'clock. I mean, are they risking a huge blowout there? I mean, the U.S. and Brazil, really? Japan took care of Chinese Taipei earlier today, took them out behind a woodshed this morning. They one-hit them in a 13-0 win in Japan, where Shohei Ohtani thrilled the crowd, going 4 for 5 with a granny and 5 RBI. Now, again, this tournament is so top heavy. They're getting ready. Cuba and Panama are getting ready to play right now in Puerto Rico. Cuba and Panama. That game is on FS2, and it is on in the studio. I just threw it on over there because it's baseball, and it's Cuba with their red uniforms. So, but tonight, the U.S. plays. It's a very top-heavy tournament. There's 20 teams in the tournament. What is there? Maybe 4 that have a chance to win? Maybe 2? The U.S. and Japan? What is fascinating is how players qualify to play for various countries and how many players have played for multiple teams in this thing. I mean, I don't know how that works. I mean, could you be a free agent in the World Baseball Classic? Like, I thought, like, if you're from a country, you're from a country, and that's it. I mean, could you be traded? How does that work? I mean, look, you're either playing for Puerto Rico or you're playing for the U.S., no? And by the way, if Bad Bunny is Puerto Rican, but he's American because Puerto Rico is, an American territory, why is Puerto Rico got its own team in this deal? If you're Puerto Rican and you can play for the U.S. if they ask you, or you can play for Puerto Rico, why does Puerto Rico have its own Olympic team? What's up with that? I don't get it. In 2017, Marcus Stroman was the MVP of the WBC. MVP means most valuable player. Acronyms. He was the MVP of the WBC for the U.S. That would be United States. As the U.S. beat Puerto Rico in the final. In 2023, he played for Puerto Rico. What are you doing? Oh, and I got some other goofy examples as well. I mean, I joked the other day that if you ever had a bagel, you could play for the Israeli team. But I got some other examples. We'll get to that as well. But back in Mission Control on the other side of the glass, shoulder to shoulder with Hollywood, playing platters that matter, stacks of wax, answering the phones, living large and in charge on a Friday.
I'm the producer of this show. If I didn't step up, you're nowhere. I put this thing together on a spit and polish.
I don't know how to say this, so I'm going to choose my words very carefully. I think you're a psycho.
I have a sentimental weakness for my children, and I spoil them, as you can see. They talk when they should listen.
Give me back my son!
I don't like violence, Thom. I'm a businessman.
I'm telling you, there's an embarrassing press conference in that kid's future.
If you ain't first, you're last.
Do you hear the grasshopper, which is at your feet?
Old man, how is it that you hear these things?
Young man, how is it that you do not?
As quickly as you can, snatch the pebble from my hand. When you can take the pebble from my hand, it will be time for you to leave.
Oh, the Yankees shortstop plays for Panama. I see. I'm looking on there. There's Caballero playing shortstop for Panama. It's on FS2 if you guys want to follow along with that. So, John, how you doing today on this Football Friday?
No, I'm doing good. I'm so glad that it's Friday and it's beautiful outside and we don't have to worry about any weather this week. Oh wait, never mind. It's supposed to pour down something fierce, but
tomorrow, not today, right?
No,
not today.
There might be a little bit tonight, but outside of that, it is a beautiful day. I'm gonna enjoy it top down like I did yesterday as well, and we're living our best lives.
Your mother has one of those Mustangs with a rag top as well, and she said the other day, she goes, I'm going to drive with my top down today. I'm like, you better not. You want to put your roof down? Go ahead, put your roof down. I said, I don't want to hear about you driving around with your top down, though. I mean, you're going to be doing that stuff.
Don't talk about my mom like that.
Can you please post the Talent Heating and Air bracket challenge on the X and mention me so that I can repost it?
So I didn't want to make it ugly by throwing in your name just randomly in the already made up script. So I did throw.
No, when you post it, though, you just put on there at Tom Abraham Show, and then it will pop up in my feed. So then I can then repost it to my people.
I did, in fact, mention you, though, via the photo. I was able to tag you to that photo, so I'm wondering if that didn't get through.
I don't have anything. I got nothing.
Okay,
well, and I'm seeing your happy face there with your Under Armour gear on. But I'm not seeing any. It's not in my notifications so that I can't retweet it to my thousands and thousands of followers.
Well, we'll make it happen for you, but
yeah,
it is live. It is live. You can't fill out your brackets just yet.
No,
but,
that would be because there is no brackets. Yeah, but it's good to get in early and get signed up for the thing. I mean, we just posted it, and there are only 3 people in it right now. Me and a person by the name of Brandon Peterson, and then some random ESPN thing. So you're not even in it, and you posted it.
I could be in it. I could be in it. You don't know. I could be Brandon.
Why are you ESPN AN 639-261-89782471 picks 1? That you?
Was that wait? You said a 1 at the end?
I don't know.
Yeah, that's me then. If
picks 1. Yeah, picks 1 at the end of that deal. We got to get everybody into this thing. And if you're trying to search it, search Talent Heating and Air 97.7 ESPN The Zone Bracket Challenge. Don't be searching just the station name, and you're going to end up with other ones because there are old ones in there, unless we figured out ever how to get rid of them. Because every year we do this, and it has like a little bit different name, it seems like every year. And so people end up, I remember like a couple of years ago, West Neighbors almost won the thing. And we're like, where is West Neighbors on this thing? And he was in his own bracket. He was in like some totally different bracket, that had the station name in there. So you got to make sure the best way to do it is through the Facebook or the X, and we'll get that thing retweeted. Maybe we could get ESPN Winchester to throw it on there as well with a retweet. If you mention them as well, at ESPN Winchester when you exit, he'll pick it up and retweet it, I think. They got like 14,000 followers on the Facebook.
On the Facebook.
Well, so somehow we'll get him to share it to his face. I don't know how that works. We'll get him to share it to his Facebook page.
I might have to log in to actually get into that ESPN Winchester Facebook. I don't know if Joe knows that anymore. Yeah. I don't think he wants me just like reposting stuff. So I'll ask him first, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah. I mean, it should. Now, see, what's weird is that I shared it. Let's see if it pops up. Yep, there it is. So my Facebook page, if you guys want to check that out, Thom Abraham, just Thom Abraham. My Facebook page. If you go there, you'll see it as well. And the link is right there. So there's multiple ways for you to get into this thing. You just need to do it. Just go and do it. That's all you got to do. All right. Couple of quick topics to get in here before we get to Chris Stewart coming up in a few minutes. This DJ Moore deal, I didn't get a chance to talk about that much yesterday because we had the snafu when the power went out in the entire city of Winchester for some 20 minutes or half an hour. But the DJ Moore deal, to me, I don't know if you guys talked about this at all when I went black, but this is a win for Chicago and a huge risk for the Buffalo Bills, in my opinion. DJ Moore had a great year in 2023. He had a tremendous season in 2023 and got paid. He got that big extension. And then the last 2 years, guy's been a bit of a dog, to be honest with you. He's kind of been jaking it around a little bit. He got paid. I think this is I don't think this is a real good deal for the Bills. Remember when the Bills had Stephon Diggs and everybody went nuts when they got Stephon Diggs? But he's washed. I'm not saying DJ Moore is washed, but he got paid. And at some particular point in time when these guys get paid, some guys, once they get paid, they're done. I mean, in 2023, he was one of the NFL's best receivers. He was tremendous. But in 2024, 2025, not so much. And the Bills are going to pay. This guy's going to cost the Bills $24 million in cash this year. I mean, he's fully guaranteed $15.5 million for 2027. And the Bills also guaranteed $15.5 million in 2028. Now he's 29 years old, so he's not, he's not aged out. But the Bills are going to be paying this guy a lot of money. I mean, $24 million this year and another $31 million over the next 2 years. This guy's costing Buffalo $55 million. I'm telling you what, I'm going to tell you right now, John, I think that this is going to be a bust. I think this is going to be a little bit of a bust for the Bills.
I don't know. I think DJ Moore was looking pretty slick in his last year with the Bears.
No, he did not. He sucked in his last year.
No. I just think that he had a little bit of less targets because of the fact that, the Bears are re-upping on the wide receiver room, and we could see that now with some young targets going into their third and second year. But I think DJ Moore going on to a fresh Bills team that is in desperate need of that number one wide receiver, I think that he's going to be able to strive a little bit more.
He could be number one on that team, but I don't know that I don't think he is a, I mean, look, last year, 50 catches for 682 yards. I mean, you can get anybody to do that. 6 touchdowns. And remember, in that last, interception that was thrown in the playoff game by Caleb Williams, he's just jogging out there. I don't think he runs a hard route anymore. He had 1,364 yards in 23. Got paid, and in 24, 966 yards, only averaging less than 10 yards a catch. That's a slot guy. And then last year, 682 yards on 50 balls. I'm not getting real excited.
I can see why. I mean, it has been a little bit under the radar. He definitely hasn't been showing that he's a top guy, premier wide receiver. Yeah. But at the same time, I think there is upside there. I just think he needs to be on the right team with the right quarterback. And I get it. Everybody's like, Caleb Williams really coming into his own. Caleb Williams works a little bit better with the younger guys that were in college with him. So I'm looking for it.
He works better with guys that want to play. I mean, I think that's the big thing. He's got Roma Dunze. He's got Luther Burden III. He's got the tight end Colston Loveland. I mean, they don't need DJ Moore. And they offload. No. To me, this is a huge win for the Bears as they get rid of this bum. I'm not a DJ Moore guy. Not a DJ Moore guy. Let me get to Philip in here. I wonder if he's watching Panama and Cuba. Philip, welcome in. How are you?
I'm all right. It's March the 6th. What are you talking about? The Buffalo Bills wide receiver? It's March the 6th.
Well, you have the free agency opens up on Monday. I mean, this is when all the trades are going down and everything. So, it's a big deal right now.
Not that big of a deal. Look, here's a little. Tell your sister from another mother. Michigan will not, I repeat, will not make the Final Four, and Duke will be the national champion. If either one of those does not happen, I lose the bet. You come up with the bet.
So
put it on the table again.
So Michigan to the Final Four will not. Michigan won't make the Final Four, and Duke will win the national championship. Wow, that's pretty. If I was Dan, I'd be jumping all over that. Are you kidding me? So that's what has to happen. That's the daily double is Duke wins the Natty and Michigan does not make the Final Four.
Correct, Omando.
Wow.
I mean, hell, they can hardly beat whoever it was they beat last night.
Yeah.
They suck, dude.
No, they don't suck.
They suck.
All right. Did you get up in the middle of the morning to watch in the middle of the night to watch the Japan game?
Absolutely.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Chinese Taipei. What's up with that?
It's outstanding.
Yeah. You watching Cuba and Panama right now?
Not right now. Right now, I got Andy Griffith on. But I'm fixing to turn it.
At least this game will be, I think, semi-competitive, possibly. I mean, this game should be competitive between Cuba and Panama. One thing about the Latin players, man, they got a lot of flair. It is fun watching them when they're playing, when they got a lot of flair going on there. But, yeah, we'll see. Tonight, the U.S. and Brazil, that's got to be a blowout.
Does anybody defect anymore?
We haven't had a defection in a long while. And I always wonder about Cuba. They get to play in this thing. Of course, Trump thinks he can flip Cuba. He'd like to. That would be a great thing, man. If we could steal Cuba away, and that would be a good thing, because that used to be a real. Until the revolution in the late 50s, Cuba was like the playground of America. I mean, people would go to Cuba. Havana was a beautiful city. I mean, now it's a third world country, but it'd be kind of cool if we could grab Cuba back. Forget Greenland. We don't need Greenland. We don't need Canada. They can be their own people. Get Cuba. That's a country I'd like to see.
Cigars for everybody.
Cigars for everybody, man. But yeah, they get to play, but we don't have, we have all these sanctions against these other countries, but Cuba's, they're playing.
All
right. Good enough.
Put that out there.
All right. It's on the street. It's on the street. Okay. Appreciate you. What should the bet be? If there is a bet, what should the bet be?
Yeah, he's not taking that.
But that's a sure win. I have a suggestion, and that's like an 80% win for Dan.
He's not taking, unless he does something that's just like Philip doesn't get to call on the show for 30 days.
No, I think Philip has to. I'll tell you what I think it has to be. Philip has to put respect on Dan's name. That's what I think it has to be. I think Philip has to put respect on Dan's name, and cut out the nastiness. All that has to have for Philip to win the bet. Duke has to win the Natty, and Michigan misses the Final Four. Man, I'd be all over that. Let's get a break. When we return, Chris Stewart will join us. We'll talk some SEC hoop. Last day of the SEC regular season is tomorrow. Talk about that with him next, right here on the Thom Abraham Show. Thom Abraham here for my longtime friend Mike Owen of Owen Home Appliance. Mike has over 25 years experience in the appliance industry, and since 2017, Owen Home Appliance has served customers in the Tennessee Valley with a focus on quality products, affordable prices, and excellent customer service. Owen Home Appliance prides themselves on community involvement as well, sponsoring local teams and events while making sure that you get the right appliance at the right price. Visit their highly interactive showroom in Lacey Springs, just 8 miles south of the river on 231.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
A wise man once said, if you take care of old folks and children, everything in the middle will take care of itself.
Hi, I'm Danny Aldridge, lawyer in Alabama and Tennessee. In the next 20 years, the number of those folks over 65 years of age will more than double. In our golden years, the most important goal is to be treated with dignity and have control over doing what makes you grateful with those you love. At the Aldridge Law Firm and the Legal Town Center, we're dedicated to help you with these goals, and we'll be there when life throws you those inevitable curveballs. Let us assist you with your legal needs, whatever they may be or become. You may reach us by phone at 256-534-3188 or online with Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. Just remember, we're here to help. Whether it's personal injury, wrongful death, fraud and cheat, or estate planning made complete, we're here to help.
It's the perfect time of year to fly a kite. A Ray of Hope is hosting the Community Kite Festival on Saturday, March 7th at John Hunt Park. This free, family-friendly event continues a beloved Huntsville tradition of bringing people together through shared experiences, outdoor fun, and community connection. You can bring your own kite or purchase one at the event. Come and enjoy the celebration as colorful kites soar across the sky on Saturday, March 7th at John Hunt Park. Learn more at ashakaranonline.org.
Tom Luganville here for my friends at the service department at Woody Anderson Ford. When you need service on your vehicle, whether it's a Ford or any other make, you want to get into Woody Anderson Ford where their expert service technicians will get it diagnosed and repaired right away, the right way. And while you are there, check out all the new and pre-owned vehicles at Woody Anderson as well. They are ready to make you the best deal possible. Visit Woody Anderson Ford today.
Woody Anderson Ford on Jordan Lane in Huntsville, Hughes Road in Madison, and online at WoodyAndersonFord.com.
The End Zone Sports Bar has done it again. This time, they're bringing their jumbo wings, handcrafted burgers, Tex-Mex, and New York-style pizza to the Midtown District with their new location on McMurtry Drive Northwest opposite the Target Plaza. Tuesdays at the End Zone means half-price burgers, and Wednesday is $1 jumbo wings all day long. The End Zone also features Sunday ticket for all your NFL viewing. The newest End Zone Sports Bar in the Midtown District on McMurtry near the Target Plaza. Get in the End Zone.
Four-time Grammy-nominated Joe Bonamassa, hailed as one of the world's greatest guitar players. Blues rock titan Joe Bonamassa, performing live March 19th at the BBC Mark C. Smith Concert Hall. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. Joe Bonamassa. Every show is a new experience.
Westwood One presents Great Moments in Tournament History. Brought to you by John Deere. Nothing runs like a deer.
Carmelo and the Qs conquer Kansas. Another super final in the Superdome. April 7, 2003. New Orleans the site as Syracuse and Kansas clashed in the championship game. Led by freshman Carmelo Anthony and Jerry McNamara, the Orangemen jolted the Jayhawks early and opened up an 18-point first-half lead. But they couldn't KO Kansas, and Nick Collison and company rallied furiously down the stretch. With time winding down, KU had one last chance to complete the comeback.
Off the corner, inbound will come from Kansas, and Graves feeds Heinrich, a jump shot for the tie, arching up, and no good, and Syracuse has won. And they are the national champions of college basketball.
Giving Jim Boeheim his first title in 27 years as coach of the Orangemen.
97.7 The Zone. 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This segment of the Tom Abraham Show is brought to you by the award-winning service department at Woody Anderson Ford. That's right. They take care of the routine checkups. They keep your Ford or other brand in perfect working order. But if you have a bigger problem, they got these expert service technicians that can diagnose it, use state-of-the-art tools to get it resolved. I take my vehicles there. I've been doing it, for nearly 20 years now. It's Woody Anderson Ford and the service department. Second to none. Check out Woody Anderson Ford today. Sounds more like basketball music than football music.
No, come on. What are you talking about?
Oh, wait a minute. This is... Wait a minute. Who plays this? This isn't the jump around for Wisconsin, is it?
I think a bunch of people play this, like going into like the second half or something like that, fourth quarter.
Oh, yeah. Just overall in general?
Yeah. It's played like 1,000 times in the NCAA games.
Chris Stewart scheduled to join us here momentarily. We talk about the basketball tournament that is coming up, the SEC men's basketball tournament, of course, which will take place next week. Now, that's going to knock us around a little bit with the Tom Abraham Show. So for you guys that are listening down the line, we will be gonzo on Wednesday, Thursday. Well, I'll be gonzo Wednesday, Thursday, Friday anyway, because of the Bassmaster Classic I'll be working up there in Knoxville for. But Wednesday And Thursday, there'll be abbreviated shows, I think, leading into SEC basketball coverage, and then Friday, of course, as well. So just stay tuned for all of that. It's going to be like this for the next 2 weeks, because the same thing will happen then the following week on Thursday and Friday, the first 2 days of the NCAA tournament will be blocked, as well as the NCAA tournament will be underway there. When, where, and how will Alabama play? Only Anthony is the voice now on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline and on WZZN TV. Chris, welcome in. How are you?
Guys, I'm great. How you doing, buddy?
Oh, there we go. I am fantastic. And
Good.
Looks like you're taking in some of that outdoor, the beautiful outdoor weather a little bit right now, huh?
I'm with you warning me that this was video, I was trying to be a little more conscious of the setup. But yeah, set outside and also got a little work going on the front door of the house that's making some noise. So trying to get out here where it's a little bit better for you anyway.
All right, that's good stuff. All right, before we get into the men's team, how about we throw a little love at the women, huh?
Yeah.
Into the quarterfinals, beat Tennessee 76-64. And, it's a great job done by this women's team as well.
Yeah, Christy does a really good job. She and her staff, the consistency, the adjustment they've made in this world of NIL on the women's side, and they've been a regular in the NCAA tournament the last few years. And even though the seeding, was not very good in the tournament, they're 11th, but great overall record. I think the fastest to 20 wins in the history of the program, and I think a 14-0 streak to start the year. And you get into the meat grinder of the league, it can make it really tough. But they won 2 games, beat Missouri, beat Tennessee last night, and it's it's going to be tough in this next one with Texas, but they've got some momentum, I think, built back as they get ready for the NCAAs next week as well.
Well, the men getting ready for the SEC tournament, and Florida has won the regular season title, and they are the 1 seed next week in Nashville. But explain to us, just with the tiebreakers and everything, it still feels like it's a bit of a free for all for the 2 seed, with Alabama and Arkansas being tied at 12-5 right now, and and then of course Tennessee lurking as well. They have Vanderbilt at home. They're at 11-6. So with the tiebreakers and everything, what is the scenario for the Tide to get that 2 seed, other than not win? I mean, just win.
Win, and you are the 2 seed because you got the tiebreaker over Arkansas, having beaten them earlier. But frankly, I'm not sure what it is beyond that. I mean, I think you can be anywhere from 1 to 4, and 2 is optimal because of the game times. And look, we know the biggest key is avoiding Florida as long as possible. They're playing so well. They would, if I'm forced to pick a team that uh, is the favorite to win it all, it would be tough to go against them. Even though I know Arizona's really good, and clearly Duke is also, and there are other teams that are capable. Uh, it's a very I think that the top 4 or 5 teams are really awfully strong, but there are a bunch of others, Alabama included, that's capable of getting hot and making some real noise.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. How do you think Nate Oates will approach the tournament? It seems like everybody and anybody now pretty much has them locked in as a 4 seed in the big tournament. That's an important number, being on that 4 line, and it would seem like they would maintain that, win a game or 2 in the SEC tournament, and that happens. But how important do you think winning the SEC tournament is to Nate Oates?
It is important. I mean, he's won it twice. And, anytime there's a trophy being given out, then he wants to try to win it like anybody else does. But obviously, the big dance is the big dance. And when you've gotten to the Final Four, as he has done at Alabama, you have a real desire to get back there. And We're a game away from it last season and would love to get back and knock on the door of it once again. But, even though the year that Alabama went to the Final Four, they lost, I think, 2 of the last 3 in the regular season, if I'm remembering correctly, and then got bounced in the SEC tournament probably in their first game, and yet got a good draw and got hot and made it as far as Alabama's ever made it in the NCAA tournament. So, how you finish the regular season, how you even do in the conference tournament is not a definitive indicator of what you're going to do in the big dance. But there's no question you'd rather go in with momentum than without.
I think Alabama, before the Tennessee game, had only won 2 games all season where they scored less than 90 points, and then they won a game with 71 points. I saw Alabama had 71 points. I figured it was 10 minutes to go in a game, but they win that game and kind of choke out Tennessee and showed some defense. I had a feeling this game at Georgia was going to be testy. Georgia playing with their hair on fire, needed a good win like this to lock themselves into the tournament. And Alabama, I think, was going for 9 in a row, maybe 9 or 10 in a row, something like that. And but I kind of had that feeling that Georgia game was going to be a grinder.
No, I don't disagree. They're talented. I mean, their league record's not spectacular, but their overall record's good, and they've got some really good wins, and they're at home, and that was the best atmosphere I've ever seen for a basketball game at Georgia. I mean, they were been there a lot of times, and you only had a few loyal faithful, but that place was packed. They've done some nice things cosmetically to the building that make it a really good uh, venue, and Mike White's obviously got the team playing well, and it's an exciting time basketball wise. They're they're good, and unfortunately for Alabama, they were good, and the Tide wasn't bad, but they weren't as good. They weren't as sharp, especially early, as they had been in the. I started saying the previous game, but that's not true either. They just found a way to get it done down the stretch because they were solid defensively against Tennessee. Um, weren't horrible against Georgia, but had too many lapses that allowed that one to get away.
Yeah. This Auburn team, I'm sure expectations were higher than them being 16-14 with 1 game to go in a regular season and 7-10 in the league. But again, now this is a team that comes in. They desperately need this win. No 15-loss team has ever been selected as an at-large to get into the big dance. They would have to make it all the way to next Sunday probably to get into the tournament. With a win here, all of a sudden that their whole season kind of changes. Shouldn't be any reason for added motivation for Alabama because it's Auburn.
Sure. I mean, that's all you need for that game for either side, but you're right. There's a lot on the line from Auburn's perspective, I think, and you're right. You don't want to be sitting there on Selection Sunday having lost to Alabama and then losing in the tournament, especially in your first game, and you're sitting at 16-16. The likelihood of getting your name called for the tournament we all want to have our names called for is not very strong. But this is an Auburn team you could easily argue, and I contend has the best win of the year in the conference among league games. I mean, they won at Florida. It's impressive enough to beat the Gators, but you do it on their home floor. And unfortunately for the rest of us that had to follow, all they did was tick them off and force them to be completely locked in. And they've been great. I don't think they've lost since then. So, Auburn at their best is an extremely capable team. They're coming off of a win, so they'll have a little momentum, and it's not accurate to say they've got nothing to lose, but they will come in extremely motivated, as you said.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. LeBaron Philon, talk about his health. There was some concern that he would have, obviously nagging injury now that was going to kind of bother him for the rest of the way. He certainly has looked pretty good anyway. You know what I mean? It's not like he sucks out there. He's still playing great.
Yeah, and Nate sat him for a game. He had not played great in Baton Rouge. He just didn't have the same spring in his step, and while he didn't say it and might not admit it, I fully believe that if you had played Tennessee rather than Mississippi State the night that we played Mississippi State, he probably would have tried to go in that particular game. But you knew that with the way State was struggling, that was a good opportunity to kind of roll the dice and rest him and hold him out to give you a better chance against Tennessee. And clearly that was a good move. Paid off, and he was good against Georgia as well. Unfortunately, just collectively, the team not good enough. I think he'll be fine, especially with it going Tuesday to Saturday. He gets the extra day's rest. And he's an Alabama kid, obviously, so this one means a lot to him as well. And look, in all likelihood, it's the last game he's going to play in Coleman Coliseum. I hadn't even thought about it from that perspective. While we'll honor 3 seniors, it's a very strong likelihood that this is the last time we'll see him play in Tuscaloosa. And what an incredible player he's been. So I hope it's a great game for him for obvious reasons for the team, but for him personally as well as a send-off from T-Town.
Chris Stewart with us here, the voice of the Crimson Tide. And look, nobody jacks up more threes than does Alabama. Although there were a couple of games down the stretch where, 25, 26, 27 threes, not 50. So that was kind of a little bit of a different look, and they were very good inside the arc. But for a team that shoots the three more than anyone else, I mean, Aiden Holloway, and no disrespect to Philon, but Aiden Holloway is just under 44%. I mean, that's just nuts. And as you know, when you get to the big tournament, often that's the deal. I mean, if I have tracked it all season, and it seems like the magic number is 38% for the team. If they shoot 38% from three, they generally win, and less than a horrible, shooting they, from the field. But Holloway has just been unbelievable from outside.
No, he has. And, it's because they're getting good looks. They get good looks because they can get to the rim as well. Everybody talks about the threes they shoot, but they get the threes because of how dangerous they are on dribble penetration and getting the ball to the rim. And you have to respect that. You have to defend that. And that's what frees up opportunities from deep. And then if you make threes, then it opens up lanes. So, they do a great job of mixing that and also playing at tempo or with tempo, which allows them the opportunities to get those looks, be they layups, be they threes, or if it, as was the case against Tennessee, a game winner, the lost art of the mid-range jumper, as we say, with what LeBaron did in the paint for that game winner against the Vols.
All right, finally, with the Bediako debacle, as I like to call it, in the rearview mirror now, just talk about what he has meant as a scout team player to helping the bigs, for Alabama. I know he went off to Canada or off to play for Canada in the tournament, but he has hung around the team. And so obviously there wasn't an issue, a chemistry issue or anything like that. They played great without him, obviously. But just talk about what impact he has had for the bigs, having a guy like that to work against and have him kind of almost be like a coach, at practice helping out those guys.
Well, first of all, he's a great guy and a really humble, good kid that the ones that knew him from him being around and being back with the program before, or, in the time before he, joined the roster for the short period, they knew of him, and the other guys really loved him. Terrific person. Not a guy that's going to disrupt things. He's not a guy that, has got to touch the ball X number of times in the offense in order to feel like he's part of it. So he didn't take shots from anybody. He took a few minutes, and it's not as if, were we better with him? Was the upside better with him? Obviously. But I contend it's more so coming off the bench in place of Sherelle than playing with him, and definitely wasn't going to play ahead of him. The misnomer of just because you've gone to the next level, your game is at another level, especially in the G League, is something that Nate talked about. He goes, the guy, he goes, it's the really sad part is that he came back to Tuscaloosa pretty much as the same player that he was when he left, which was as a very good college sophomore who was probably a year away from being a high draft pick had he stuck around and gone to school for another year. There's not the development in professional basketball that there is in college. So he's not playing a ton of minutes in the G League, and he's not getting the individual coaching and attention that allowed his game to go to another level. We were 3-2 with him. So it's not like there was an advantage gained. And in fact, we were without some other pieces that would have made us better in most of those games because of injuries. That's the biggest reason this team's won 8 out of 9 or 9 out of 10, whatever it is now, in my opinion, is because they're the healthiest they've been. It's one thing when you lose a player for a game or two, like we did with Phylon in the Mississippi State game. But when you're without 2 or 3, we played that game up at Nashville early in the year, and you don't have Sherelle for any of the game, and you didn't have Phylon for the last 16 minutes, and you didn't have Reitzel for about the last 12 or 14 because of injuries. That's basically 3 starters you're without. And, there's no guarantee you win with those 3 guys playing, but I like my chances a whole lot better. I liked my chances against Tennessee at home a lot better at the time we played them if Amari Allen and Aiden Holloway are able to go in that particular ball game, even though clearly there's no guarantee. And I dang sure like our chances better against Texas with a healthy group that's able to go. So injuries are part of it. They impact everybody. But this is a team that is playing its best because they've got their actual roster together. And especially now, Tom, with as many new faces as you have from year to year, it's tough enough to build cohesiveness as it is. But when you don't have guys even available on a consistent, regular basis, that makes it even tougher.
Always a pleasure. Chris Stewart has been our guest. Chris, I appreciate you so much.
Same here, buddy.
Call tomorrow against Auburn, and look forward to Nashville as well. Thanks, man.
Same here. Anytime, buddy. Be good.
All right, thanks. Chris Stewart. All right, we get a break. We'll come back, set you up for hour number 2 next, right here on the Thom Abraham Show.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Brett Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Drivers who switch to Progressive have an annual savings of nearly $750. Progressive.com.
South Alabama will play Georgia Southern tonight in Pensacola, Florida, as part of the Sun Belt Conference Tournament. It's round number 4. USA is a 4.5-point favorite. The total is 149.5 entering tonight's matchup. Auburn and Alabama are set to square off tomorrow night in Tuscaloosa. 16th-ranked Alabama, 22-8 on the year, 12-5 in the SEC. Auburn is 16-14 overall, 7-10 in the Southeastern Conference. Atlanta Hawks are back home tomorrow night. They'll take on the 76ers and start a homestand. With your VSiN Action Update, I'm John Thayer on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
So, what's your excuse?
Can these sick people be cured?
You'll need a few good ones because we're going to be locked to the tournament in just a few weeks.
Rivers for three. With his ability to drive, you're looking at a superstar.
It's the most maddening time in college hoops.
It's alive!
And we've got the big dance covered.
The flipper still fits!
97.7 ESPN The Zone.
If hunting and outdoor recreation are your passions, it all starts with the right property. That's where I come in. I am Bo Butler with Southland Realty and Auction, a hunting and recreational land specialist and a Jackson County native who sees land through a hunter's eyes. Just as you trust your guide on a big game hunt, you can trust me to find the perfect property for you. Thinking of selling? Let me help you make your land attract buyers. Remember, Bo knows land. Call me at 256-609-0512.
97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This segment of the Tom Abraham Show is brought to you by my friends at All About Water LLC. Well, you can learn more about them at allaboutwaterllc.com. I know it sounds kind of crazy, but look, they do everything that has anything to do with water, whether it's building a pond or refreshing your pond or a water feature on your property or drainage on your property. Whatever it is involving water, they do it. That includes irrigation, maintenance of your irrigation, installation of irrigation. All About Water LLC. And welcome back to Tom Abraham Show. Cuba leading Panama in the WBC. So to Philip's question about defectors, you know, they have kind of tightened that up quite a bit there. The last WBC, Cuban defectors, Cubans that had defected and were playing on Major League Baseball teams, were allowed to play for Cuba. That's not the case this year. You know, they're not allowing it, I don't believe, this year. So you have to be playing in the Cuban League, Serie Nacional, something like that they call it. You got to be playing in their domestic league. And anybody who had defected in the past is not allowed to play for them. And they have a real strict security protocol. They can't leave the hotel. Look. If you got to go to that extent to keep people in your country, what the heck do you got for a country? Just saying. They keep them under lock and key to keep them from leaving your country? What's that say about your country? Conor O'Gara from the OG Kickoff Podcast is next, talking college football right here on the Tom Abraham Show.
The Orthopedic Center. It's in the name. TOC, the premier choice for all your orthopedic needs. With over 40 physicians and 20 centers of excellence, TOC is the name to trust for complete, expert orthopedic care. And that word center, we mean it. With more than a dozen locations across North Alabama and the Tennessee Valley, TOC is in your community whenever you need us. As the state's largest orthopedic practice, TOC is built on trust. Trust we've earned with every patient we serve. You can see that trust on the field, too. As the official sports medicine provider for the Huntsville Havoc, Huntsville City Football Club, Oakwood and Alabama A&M universities, thousands of athletes and coaches count on TOC to keep them in the game. From student athletes to unexpected injuries, our urgent ortho clinics offer prompt, expert care. No appointment necessary. So remember, when it comes to your health and mobility, trust the name that says it all. TOC, helping you live a better life.
If you're ready to lower your utility bills, it's time to call Eagle Insulation. Eagle can handle it all. Attic re-insulation, insulation removal, wall insulation, and new construction insulation, commercial and residential. Our primary goal is to save you money, and lots of it. Typical clients realize their return on investment within 3 to 6 months. That means the re-insulation actually pays for itself and then some. See if we can help you. Contact Eagle Insulation today, 256-755-1556, or log on insulatewitheagle.com. Since 1983, Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate's Ann Adams has been your local go-to real estate expert in the area. As a buyer, you can trust Ann's in-depth knowledge of the local housing market to narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in, saving you time when shopping for a new home. When you're ready to sell, Ann's expert negotiation skills will ensure you get a fair price and hassle-free experience. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or email annadamsrise@gmail.com.
Thom Abraham here for my longtime friend Mike Owen of Owen Home Appliance. You know, Mike has over 25 years experience in the appliance industry, and since 2017, Owen Home Appliance has served customers in the Tennessee Valley with a focus on quality products, affordable prices, and excellent customer service. Owen Home Appliance prides themselves on community involvement as well, sponsoring local teams and events while making sure that you get the right appliance at the right price. Visit their highly interactive showroom in Lacey Springs, just 8 miles south of the river on 231.
Welcome to Kern Electrical, where teamwork powers every project. Our champion sales team takes time to understand your needs, tailoring the perfect Generac generator for your home or business. Our project managers handle all coordination, ensuring a tackle-free installation. Our certified installation crews ensure peace of mind, even in the darkest moments. With our service and maintenance lineups, you can be assured we're with you every step of the way. Experience the home team advantage of Kern Electrical, your Generac superstore.
Most current way to keep your power on. GeneracSuperstore.com.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Scott Tyson here with the 97.7 ESPN The Zone Sportsman at GSE semifinal tournament basketball action. Despite having 4 players in double figures, 4-seeded UAH couldn't overcome a slow start last night on the road against top seed West Alabama as they fall 80-72. Quentin Tolles led the Chargers with 16. On the women's side, top seeded UAH will get 22 points and 10 rebounds from GSE Player of the Year Lily Wilkin as they down Trevecca 80-61. The Chargers will host the GSE championship game Sunday at 1 p.m. taking on Union. SEC women's tournament action. 11-seed Alabama would get 23 points from Jessica Timmons. The Crimson Tide advanced to the quarterfinals with a 76-64 win over 6-seed Tennessee. Alabama will face 3rd-seed Texas tonight at 7:30. 24th-ranked Ole Miss, too much for Auburn last night as they move on to the quarterfinals with a 73-57 win. Make sure and download the 97.7 ESPN The Zone app today.
You need to be more like a dog.
Like what you guys are doing. You've got your fingertip on the pulse of your listeners. You guys know what they're talking about.
Be a dog.
God bless the show. You are the Messiah.
We need more dogs.
This is the best show on radio.
The big dog, Thom Abraham, is here with you.
Hey, I see you, dog.
So settle in and get your bark on. That's my dog. Now live, here he is, the big dog.
Let's go, baby!
Thom Abraham.
How you doing? 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 Look, I don't speak Spanish.
I don't know how to say this, so I'm going to choose my words very carefully. I think you're a psycho.
Do you know who I am?
I mean, that guy sounds like Dale McPherson farting into Miles Davis' trumpet.
I guess I'm on here. Am I on? Can somebody respond?
Get off my lawn.
I have to drag my Yankee ass out of here.
And welcome in on a Football Friday in the Doghouse. It's always Football Friday in the Doghouse. It doesn't matter what time of year it is. We're right around the corner for spring ball beginning all around the SEC. You got the UFL coming. You got NFL free agency. You got new NFL uniforms coming out next week as well. There's always something going on in the world of football, and there are some huge quarterback battles that are going to be taking place, and they will begin taking place very, very soon. How many of them will result in a decision being made before August? I would say, I don't know, none of them, probably, maybe, I don't know, we'll see. But Connor O'Gara does a tremendous job with the OG Kickoff podcast, and he joins us now on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline to discuss that and more. Connor, welcome to the show. How are you?
Doing well. Good to be here. Look, I know what just happened there because it's already happened to me. You were about to say my former employer, and you know what? You are a pro's pro, and you very naturally just shifted to the OG Kickoff, and I'd like to think that's exactly what I've done.
Well, it is what you have done. You guys are doing a tremendous job with it. By the way, is the OG Kickoff limited to the college game, or do you guys venture at all into the NFL game, the draft that is coming up, and where Ty Simpson might go, and if he's a first rounder and all that kind of good stuff?
Yeah, we dig into some draft stuff, not as much as we do current college football, predominantly in the SEC. But yeah, I think the draft conversations are really interesting with a lot of these SEC quarterbacks, including one Ty Simpson, who I think depending on which game you watch, that's going to probably define your opinion of him. And it's one of the more intriguing draft discussions that one can have right now is these guys who are just considered the 1 year starters at the college level. How do they perform at the NFL level? Should they have all just come back to school for a second year as a starter, a la Garrett Nussmeier? So I think we have a lot of those conversations, and I think that the opinions that so many at the NFL have is that they just want more of Ty Simpson at the college level, and they would like to see him more as the farm system type quarterback instead of the 14 or 15 starts that we got of him this past season.
But when you look at the guys in the draft next year, he's probably making the right decision, right? I mean, because next year is going to bring Arch Manning, it's going to bring Dante Moore. It feels like Trinidad Chambliss, if he backs up his year from last year and has a great year, he could be a first rounder. It feels like this was the right move for him to maximize his draft position.
Probably, but we kind of always do this. The next quarterback class is always the best one.
Great class. Yeah.
We're going to, I guarantee you, at this time next year, look back on the quarterback class and go, oh, a lot of these guys were disappointing. And that's just kind of the world that we live in, because only so many of these guys are going to be good. And I did on the OG Kickoff with my co-host Will Ogburn, we did this draft of college football quarterbacks for the 2026 season. And the way that I do something like that is I come up with a big board and I try and get to a place where I have a certain amount of guys ranked. And the number that I came up with was 18 quarterbacks that I could have seen drafting as one of my 5 quarterbacks. And that just shows you that there is a lot of that depth that's there, but there are also still guys that are going to inevitably fall on their face and they will hurt their draft stock. And who knows what the quarterback conversation will look like at this time next year, but not all these guys are going to end up being first round picks. Not all of them are going to end up being second round picks. So yes, it does look very much like Ty Simpson picked the quarterback class that has less depth, but did he necessarily make a decision that's going to be like the difference between, being a late first rounder versus a mid 4th round guy? I don't know that I can definitively say
that. So let's talk about some of the quarterback battles, and we'll start in alphabetical order, and possibly the most important one of all in the country, at least for Kalen DeBoer, is Alabama. And, DeBoer inherited Jalen Milroe. He inherited Ty Simpson, who had tremendous numbers, although, at times looked pedestrian, especially in the second half of the season last year. But now he's got all his guys. Now it's the guy that he brought with him in Austin Mack. Now it's the guy that he signed as a freshman, as a true freshman in Keelan Russell. So we've got this quarterback battle going on, and it seems like, yeah, it's a battle for what's going to happen this year, but this is also probably going to define the Kalen DeBoer era at Alabama, wouldn't you say? I mean, because this is a 2 or a 3 year decision that's going to be made here.
I think it is. It's a really important decision, and I don't think that this staff will take that lightly. I think they're going into this knowing that they don't really have excuses at this point. You could probably say that the first 2 quarterbacks that they had, while extremely talented, were not what they would typically recruit. And I think they look for a very specific skill set. And I think they have that ultimately with Keelan Russell, who steps in as this former 5-star guy, a guy that was so decorated in that class, and was the exact type of guy that people wondered if Kalen DeBoer could go out there and get. And what I think people are going to wonder about if and when Keelan Russell wins the starting job, which I do think will happen. I think he beats out Austin Mack, even though Austin Mack is considered the long-term project for this staff, a guy that will be entering year 4 in that offense. I do think that Keelan Russell will win the job. And I think people wonder, is this going to be what they hope is the righty Michael Penix? Because at some point, you're going to try and recreate what you had at Washington with your offense. Now, it doesn't necessarily guarantee that Alabama has the personnel. I don't think that we can sit here today and go, yeah, they definitely have 3 NFL-ready receivers on that roster the way that that Washington runner-up team did. And I don't know that Ryan Williams is automatically going to bounce back. But I kind of wonder if Keelan Russell is exactly the type of quarterback that they've been waiting to have. If he just has all of those skills, a guy that doesn't necessarily move to be able to doesn't necessarily move around in the pocket to be able to run and try and pick up a first down with his legs in the way that Jalen Milroe kind of defaulted to, and has more mobility than Ty Simpson, but is still a guy that you feel like you're comfortable with him throwing on the run. And that's something that I don't think Ty Simpson did at the level that they would have ideally hoped he would. So can you have this gunslinger, pick you apart type of guy with his arm in the way that Keelan Russell was as a very decorated high school recruit, and someone that is going to step into a situation that is going to have a lot of pressure on it from the jump? But I think he's ready to take on all of those challenges.
Yeah, and then the question would become, even at peak Washington offense under Michael Penix that goes to the national championship, does that work in the SEC? I mean, they just can't. Ryan Grubb, it just seems, had this aversion of running the ball. They can't just take that offense and plug it in here and say that's good enough to win out of the SEC. You would think that there has to be some sort of adjustment into what works here and into what works on those 2 teams we saw in the national championship game, both Indiana and Miami, who were willing to line up and knock you off the ball and run the ball with some kind of vengeance, which Alabama didn't seem to have a taste for. Maybe they didn't have the personnel for it this past year.
Yeah, I kept bringing up 1955 Alabama. That was the last time that Alabama had a running game that bad. And then with how Alabama finished the season, they had a running game even worse than that, which is impossible to think that Alabama had a running game worse than an 0-10 team that happened, 3 years before the Bear Bryant era began at Alabama.
Here's Whitworth, baby. Here's Whitworth. Are you kidding me?
Oh, golly. I mean, it was painful to watch. It was. And you were digging up all the historical numbers to try and find out just how historically bad this was. You know, that Washington team, while it was obviously a pass-first team, what it had was Dylan Johnson, a guy who came from Mississippi State, who could get you those yards after first contact that they could lean on and say, hey, 20 touches in a game. And there were a lot of moments during the season when Penix was banged up and they really had to lean on him. And that Alabama team last year just did not have the personnel to be able to do that. And I don't think injuries were just the reason for it. So this year they're going in essentially with a really similar backfield to what they had last year. And you know, Jam Miller's gone, but you know, you're going to rely a lot on Daniel Hill, and AKD are still there. They didn't ultimately keep Hollywood Smothers out of the transfer portal. He ends up going to from NC State, you know, to Texas, and initially looked like he was going to go to Bama. So what does this running game become? Because it can't be as bad as it was last year. I'm not breaking any news by saying that, but can it at least have a guy that's reliable game in, game out? And I think that Bama needs to figure out who that guy is very, very early on.
Ryan O'Gara with us here from the OG.
Whoa. That's my brother. You just said my brother's name.
Did I just say
Ryan O'Gara? I have not.
I haven't talked to Ryan in like 3 years.
Ryan's doing well. Talked to him 2 days ago. Hour and a half conversation on the phone. We actually just talked ball all the time. That is, I think, the very first time since like high school that I have been called my brother's name in a public setting before. Fun story for you. In 5th grade, I ran for school president of my elementary school. And, you know, we're making the big announcement for you. Nobody cares about this, but I'm going to tell it anyways. And we're all the candidates who would run for president, this like 5th grade school president thing. They all gather in this like dark corner in our school, and they want to make it like really hush hush. And my like homeroom teacher is the one who's like going to tell us who wins class president, school president, it was called at the time. And she goes, and the winner of our, you know, school president for the year 2001, blah, 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 is Ryan Oak. And she stops herself. My brother's not even at that school anymore. He's already off to middle school. And she has to pause. And she says, I am so sorry. The winner is Connor O'Gara. And so you saying that right now just brought me right back to that moment 25 years ago. still just, hits
Ryan,
away.
What's crazy is, I mean, he was one of our Big Ten guys back in the day, and I have not talked to him at least in 3 years. And I don't know why that name came out of my mouth like that. I mean, I'm more apt to say the name of your former employer than I am to say Ryan O'Gara.
I'm going to tell Ryan that you said that too, and he'll bring a smile to his face.
Connor O'Gara with us from the OG Kickoff podcast. All right. The one on Rocky Top is huge as well. And you wonder how much, no one ever talks about whether or not, the coaching situation there is spongy at all in any way, shape, or form for Josh Heupel. But it seemed like they were all in on Joey Aguilar, and Joey Aguilar ain't coming back. He's not walking through that door. They got a transfer from Colorado that feels like just a camp arm. And they got an outstanding freshman coming in, the true freshman of Faison Brandon, whose name is backwards. In my opinion, I'm going to call him Brandon Faison all the time. And then the kid from the Nashville area, in our listening area there, George McIntyre, he was surprisingly good in camp. They really liked him last year in camp, and a lot of people think George McIntyre wins this job. How important is that, though, for Josh Heupel? I mean, could it be getting a little slippery for him if he doesn't get this right?
Yeah, it's pivotal. It just is. I mean, they've had 3 consecutive years in which the season has not ended the way that they hoped, and that's a weird thing to say, given that their first ever playoff berth is sandwiched in between those. But, you're ultimately going to be defined by whether or not you can develop quarterbacks and have a team that is not the punching bag. Josh Heupel has done a tremendous job during his time in Knoxville of getting Tennessee away from those conversations. Tennessee is no longer the butt of the joke the way that it was throughout the 2010s. What can change that is a 6-6 season in which all of a sudden that place has a bunch of empty seats and people are wondering, man, what's the plan? What's the future? Do we even have a guy that we feel like we can build around? And I don't know that you're going to know that within the first month of how this is going to play out, because let's not forget that at the midway point of this past season, with all of that turnover on offense, 4 new starters on the offensive line, replacing SEC Offensive Player of the Year, replacing your quarterback after he had a weird fallout post-spring, all of these different things, top 3 receivers were gone. They have the number 1 offense in America at the midway point of the season. Josh Heupel's an adult. Having said that, this is going to be a huge decision for him to be able to make, because Faison Brandon comes in as the guy with all the hype. But as we've seen with true freshmen in the past, that's not the design. Like even Bo Nix, who was the starter from the jump at Auburn, had his struggles and was bailed out by a top 5 defense. Jake Fromm did great things. He also had Nick Chubb and Sony Michel, and he had a world-class defense in his first season, and he wasn't even supposed to be the starter from the jump. Jacob Eason got hurt. It's like we've seen these situations in the past, the DJ Lagway. It's not the design to have that guy as a starter. So ideally, George McIntyre can step in and at least be serviceable. Hopefully he's put on the weight needed to be able to kind of withstand the punishment that I think comes with that job. And you would ideally hope that Josh Heupel has the offense in place to be able to make that team not a punching bag. The Jim Knowles defense is going to take some time. He brought over some guys from Penn State. It's a really nice hire, but there are a lot of questions about what it's going to look like from the jump. So I think that Josh Heupel goes into this situation knowing there's a pivotal year, and you can't necessarily sit there and go, oh yeah, everything's just going to be fine, even if we're 6-6, even though you have a boss that changed your contract to make it more favorable 4 different times.
All right, and finally, get an Auburn question in here. Byron Brown. Tom Fornelli over at CBS put Byron Brown in the pecking order of SEC quarterbacks ahead of guys like Lenora Sellers, Marcel Reed, John Mateer, and, of course, Keelan Russell, which we don't know really anything about until he's in there doing something. But is that a little heady, or is Byron Brown really that guy?
I think Byron Brown can be that guy. Now, he's got a lot of questions. He's in year 5 in the Alex Golesh offense, which is great. I mean, like, it's just not supposed to happen like that. Or I guess year 4 in the offense, but there's a lot of familiarity with what he brings to the table. And I think that, there are people that are going to wonder how it's going to translate going from the American Conference competition that he faced going to SEC competition. One of the things that he did really, really well was break tackles. He did not throw well under pressure. If you look at adjusted completion percentage under pressure, he was at I think 52.8% last year. It would have been the lowest in the SEC. And that was against the American. That's against Group of 5, mostly competition. So that's going to be a huge question mark for him. Is what does it look like when those plays break down? If he can't break tackles in the open field, is he able to make those decisions with his arm and be able to move the chains that way? He brings a lot, though. He really does. I mean, there's like what? I think the next round had the stat. It was like there's 13 guys in the history of FBS that have had 3,000 passing yards, 1,000 rushing yards in a season. He's one of them. And so you're in a unique spot if you're Auburn, knowing that this is a very new look offense, but you have the familiarity that he brings to the table. He's got the size at 235 pounds to be able to take some punishment too. But Auburn's had one all-SEC quarterback post Cam Newton, and it was Jarrett Stidham in 2017. It's been a minute since Auburn's been able to feel like they have a reliable guy at that spot that they can trust week in, week out. Can he be that guy? Can he be that difference maker? I think he's capable, but I need to kind of see what it looks like early in those pressure situations. I think when he's on schedule, I think he's going to be really good. It's just a question of what's it going to look like when things break down and what does he ultimately default to? That's probably going to define how this year one offense looks like with Byron Brown and Alex Golesh.
Ryan O'Gara's brother, Connor, has been our guest.
I thought you were going to do it again.
As he will be known from now on going forward. Ryan's brother has weighed in with us as well. Is Ryan even doing football anymore? Is he a computer analyst somewhere now, or what's going on with him?
Ryan's doing great things with real estate in Lexington, Kentucky. His wife works at UK, doing great things. He's happy. He's loving it. Still consumes football. Like we talked a bunch of NFL draft stuff. We're Bears fans, so we talked about a bunch of Bears related storylines the other day. No, Ryan still probably consumes actually even more football now, even though he's not directly in it. But no, he's locked into all things real estate. You need a house in Lexington. Free shout out for Ryan. Go look him up, Ryan O'Gara.
You won the DJ Moore trade. Just going to tell you, I don't think I think he's mailing it in. You got good receivers, young receivers there that want to play. And I think the last 2 years since he got paid, he's mailing it in. Buffalo paid way too much for that kid. You won that trade.
I love DJ Moore too. And he did provide me one of the best moments of my fandom life. The walk-off against the Packers is I will always hold that near and dear to my heart. My daughter actually has a DJ Moore jersey that she wears so unbelievably proudly. She was devastated to hear the news. Not really. She's 2.5. She doesn't know. But yeah, DJ Moore was a great player for what the Bears needed. But I agree. I think they ended up on the right end of that deal.
Sometime I'll tell you the story about how Ryan Poles and his dad and me were roommates as college football coaches back in the day. Ryan used to hang out with my kids when he was 5-6 years old, and when he was playing in our turkey bowl and everything else. I never thought that, hey, that kid right there, he's going to be the GM of the Chicago Bears someday. And still great, always in touch with his dad, Junior Poles, who played at Boston College back in the day as well. And so Ryan's doing a tremendous job there. All right, man. Appreciate you as always. Great stuff.
Thanks, man.
All right, thank you. That is Connor O'Gara. I can't believe I called him Ryan. I mean, that's just nuts that I called him Ryan. That's crazy.
Well, I mean, you call me, Tommy. Oh, no, Joe.
Do I?
Yeah, you do that quite a bit.
Really?
I mean,
you know what it is? I just have too many. I'm over here. I'm watching. I got the TV on over there. I'm looking at what the next question is going to be. I can't multitask as well as I used to back in the day. I need to be more intentional. I got to be. My focus isn't what it used to be, back in the day. So, in any event. All right. If you want to react to that conversation, 256-576-4977. Phone lines are open the rest of the show. I got an interesting WBC story. What does it take to play on some of these teams in the WBC, and exactly how many guys have played for multiple teams in the WBC? I've got that. Plus, in the wake of Deshaun Watson restructuring his contract going into his 5th and final year with the Cleveland Browns, it made me start thinking this guy has not had a decent season since he was 24 years old. He's 30 now, okay? 30. So I've got a list of athletes bouncing around in my head that came out great guns, were world beaters in their first couple of years, and then just faded to black. And if you want to weigh in and give me some names, you can do that as well, plus more. It's all coming up on the Thom Abraham Show.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Drivers who switch to Progressive have an annual savings of nearly $750. Progressive.com.
South Alabama will play Georgia Southern tonight in Pensacola, Florida, as part of the Sun Belt Conference Tournament. It's round number 4. USA is a 4.5-point favorite. The total is 149.5 entering tonight's matchup. Auburn and Alabama are set to square off tomorrow night in Tuscaloosa. 16th-ranked Alabama, 22-8 on the year, 12-5 in the SEC. Auburn is 16-14 overall, 7-10 in the Southeastern Conference. Atlanta Hawks are back home tomorrow night. They'll take on the 76ers and start a homestand. With your VSiN Action Update, I'm John Thayer on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Basketball fans, get ready as the Conference USA Basketball Tournament is set to return to the Rocket City and Probst Arena March 10th through 14th, featuring 20 men's and women's basketball teams playing 18 games with Conference USA titles and NCAA automatic bids on the line. It's 5 days of exciting hoops action at BBC Probst Arena. Jump into the action by getting your tickets now by visiting Ticketmaster.com. And we'll see you inside the BBC March 10th through the 14th. Come find out who will be putting on their dancing shoes. By now, you know about Eagle Masonry and Insulation, and maybe you know that Eagle also does landscaping and dirt work. But how about after paint work? Shower doors, shelving, and mirrors, all taken care of by Eagle, the same Eagle that takes care of all your masonry, insulation, and landscaping needs. Eagle brings the same level of expertise to all these disciplines, and they're ready to provide you with a free quote. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money. Since 1983, Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate's Ann Adams has been your local go-to real estate expert in the area. As a buyer, you can trust Ann's in-depth knowledge of the local housing market to narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in, saving you time when shopping for a new home. When you're ready to sell, Ann's expert negotiation skills will ensure you get a fair price and hassle-free experience. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or email annadamsrise@gmail.com.
If hunting and outdoor recreation are your passions, it all starts with the right property. That's where I come in. I am Bo Butler with Southland Realty and Auction, a hunting and recreational land specialist and a Jackson County native who sees land through a hunter's eyes. Just as you trust your guide on a big game hunt, you can trust me to find the perfect property for you. Thinking of selling? Let me help you make your land attract buyers. Remember, Bo knows land. Call me at 256-609-0512.
Westwood One presents Great Moments in Tournament History, brought to you by John Deere. Nothing runs like a deer.
The year Butler finally did it. A script so good, it could have been a movie. After several years of knocking on the door, Butler came crashing through in 2010 and made a historic run that captivated college basketball. Gordon Hayward led the mid-major Bulldogs past more heralded schools en route to an unlikely berth in the Final Four.
Second free throw, no good. Rebound, Hayward has it for Butler, and this ball game is over. And Butler, yes, Butler will play for a national championship on Monday night. Butler defeats Michigan State.
But the Bulldogs couldn't complete the Hollywood ending, falling just short to Duke in the final, 61-59. Nevertheless, Butler's memorable march is another great moment in tournament history.
97.7 The Zone, your Fox 54 weather.
I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. We drop into the lower 60s as we head into the overnight early Saturday morning. A mostly cloudy to overcast sky Saturday afternoon. We're going to start the day dry, but then showers and thunderstorms are going to build in through the later part of Saturday afternoon and then continuing through Saturday evening. Some of those thunderstorms could come with some gusty winds, but as of right now, no severe weather is expected.
Your Fox 54 weather, only on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Thom Abraham here for my longtime friend Mike Owen of Owen Home Appliance. You know, Mike has over 25 years experience in the appliance industry, and since 2017, Owen Home Appliance has served customers in the Tennessee Valley with a focus on quality products, affordable prices, and excellent customer service. Owen Home Appliance prides themselves on community involvement as well, sponsoring local teams and events while making sure that you get the right appliance at the right price. Visit their highly interactive showroom in Lacey Springs, just 8 miles south of the river on 231. Welcome back to Thom Abraham Show on a Football Friday, all football music. Was that vintage game day, or what was that from?
Vintage CBS Sports NFL Today intro.
Oh, the NFL Today intro. Man, there is one for the NFL Today from the 60s that I remember as a kid. It started out with a drum solo that was absolutely amazing, and I have been looking for it forever. I found it at one particular point in time, and then I lost it again. And I've got to find it. It was mid-60s, the NFL Today, and it started out with all drums. It was really good. I think it was all drums. It was something like that. All right, phone lines are open. You want to jump in, 256-576-4977. By the way, didn't mention it earlier, but I am really fascinated by this race weekend in Phoenix. I really am. I mean, the Indy cars, some know it as IRL, but the Indy cars they've got their 250 tomorrow, and then NASCAR has the 500 on Sunday. I'm not sure why one's doing a 250 and one's doing a 500. And it's got to be, I think it's 500 laps. What is Phoenix? Is that a mile track? It's not a mile and a half, but it's not a mile and a quarter. Is it a mile and a half? No, it's not a mile and a half. Is Phoenix just 1 mile? I don't know why the Indy cars are doing a 250, but anyway, I was watching a little bit of the IndyCar qualifying, and it's going to be such a. Is it 1 mile? It's a 1 mile track. So they go in. So the 500 is 500 laps, apparently, on Sunday, and then so the IndyCar 250 that must be 250 laps. Then I assume. The thing about it is the IndyCars. It's going to be such a stark difference if you watch both. The Indy cars, the speed of the Indy cars, I mean, they've got to be going, I'd have to check qualifying. Are they going 40 or 50 miles an hour faster? I mean, I'm almost more interested in the IndyCar race than I am the NASCAR race, and I can't believe I just said that. Can't believe I said that.
I would agree with you because I feel like Reddick's just going to win again.
Well, that would be an incredible story. Why do you feel Reddick will win again there? Did he win there last year?
Nah, I've seen 3 in a row. I'm kind of getting tired of it, but it'll happen again.
No, I don't think it happens again. I think somebody would take him out before it happens again. I mean, this is a look. The first 2 races were very similar in terms of being, plate races, if you will, drafting races, drafting tracks, and obviously he pulled a piece of furniture out of his butt. He didn't lead until the end, and he was able to avoid the accidents and things like that. The third one was almost predictable because he was the defending champ there, and at COTA. But Tyler Reddick will not win this week. He won't win this week. They need an American car to win this week is what they need. But let me tell you something. That's Hollywood Hogan, by the way, big motorsports fan. Watch some of the IndyCar race tomorrow. Of course, the difference is you touch tires and that's it. You're done for the day, whereas in NASCAR, it'll be beating and banging. But there's not a lot of beating and banging there. But if you watch a little bit of that and then you watch the NASCAR race, the difference in speed. I always feel that way when I see Indy. Whenever NASCAR runs at Indy and you look at the speeds and when you watch them go through turns 1 and 2 and then you see them, compared to the Indy cars, it's a total different world.
Do you
go ahead.
I was going to say, do you have a pick for the Indy race?
Yeah, Joseph Newgarden. out of Hendersonville, Tennessee. Oh, he's Joseph Newgarden. He qualified third, I think. I think he was third in qualifying or in practice. Maybe in his practice speed was third, something like that. Maybe they haven't qualified yet. But yeah, get on the number 2 Penske car. I'm a Penske guy, you know. I like all the Penske cars, whether it's a Saturday or a Sunday. All right, the WBC is in full swing now, and I jokingly, I've said this before, that look, you could have if you ever had a slice of pizza, you were qualified to play on the Italian team. It's just weird the way you qualify to play on these teams. To me, if you're going to involve 20 countries, you should have to be from the place. At least be born in the place. Even if you weren't raised in the place, you should at least be born in the place, or if you weren't born in that country, you are a citizen of that country. You should have to be a citizen of that place, right? That to me. Jazz Chisholm, the second baseman for the Yankees, is playing for Great Britain. He's the only active Major League Baseball player from the Bahamas, and he's playing for Great Britain. Why is he playing for Great Britain if he's from the Bahamas? Because the Bahamas used to be a colony of Great Britain. And because they used to be a colony of Great Britain and he's from the Bahamas, he gets to play for Great Britain. He played for him back in 2017 too, I think. Mark Vientos is playing for Nicaragua. John, do you know who Mark Vientos is? No. He was born in Norwalk, Connecticut. He's playing for Nicaragua because his mom was born in Nicaragua. His father was born in the Dominican Republic. His grandfather was born in Puerto Rico. He could have played for every team in the league. Let's see. I could play for Nicaragua because mom was born there. I could play for the DR because dad was born there. I could play for Puerto Rico because grandpa was born there. He was born in Norwalk, Connecticut. Raised in America. He's an American. Harrison Bader. You remember Harrison Bader, right? Played center field for the Yankees for a year.
Yep. Played great for the Cardinals, Indians. Harrison Bader is playing for Israel. Harrison Bader's never been to Israel, but his father is Jewish. So because his father is Jewish, Harrison Bader can play for Israel. Not because Harrison Bader is Jewish. He may or may not be Jewish, but his father is Jewish. Playing for Israel. Nolan Arenado is playing for Puerto Rico because his mother is Puerto Rican. Nolan Arenado played for the U.S. in each of the last 2 World Baseball Classics. He helped the U.S. win the championship over Puerto Rico in 2017. He becomes the 5th player to play for multiple countries. Wait a minute. You were an American in 2017 and 2023, and now you're Puerto Rican? Well, no, you're not Puerto Rican. You're an American. But your mother is of... And look, it's not that she's from Puerto Rico. She's of Puerto Rican descent. Of Puerto Rican descent. His mother's born in America, too. Logan Allen. Logan Allen's mother was born in Panama, so he could play for Panama. Not him, but his mother. Alejandro Kirk is playing for Mexico. Now, you know what? Alejandro Kirk was born in Tijuana, Mexico. He became this past October,
Alejandro Kirk became the first Mexican-born player to hit a home run in the World Series, which is mind-boggling to me. That no Mexican-born player had ever hit a home run in a World Series in 110 years of the World Series. Now, he's not, he was supposed to be in the 2023 tournament playing for Mexico, but he had a kid, was born that year. So now he's playing for Mexico. But that's legit. At least he was born in Mexico. He's raised in the States, but he was born there. Xander Bogaerts was born in Aruba, which is a constituent island country within the Kingdom of the Netherlands. Gives him the ability to play for the Dutch team in the WBC. Here, John, you'll like this one. This one's for you. Aaron Nola. You know the pitcher Aaron Nola, right?
Yep.
Aaron Nola from the Phillies, born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Red Stick. Born and raised in Red Stick. Okay? He is half Italian because his father's side of the family, his paternal grandparents, not his daddy. His daddy's not from Italy. His dad's parents were born in Italy. In fact, they came from the city of Nola in Italy. That's where his name comes from, Aaron Nola.
Okay.
So his name is an Italian city where his grandparents on his father's side were born. Hey, you could play on the Italian team.
Daddy is born and raised. I could play on the Italian team.
Yes! You and me could play on the Italian team.
Let's go.
Well, actually, you couldn't because your grandparents were born here in America, but you're of Italian descent.
Oh.
My grandparents were born in Italy.
Dang it.
So you're stuck playing for the Americans.
Could I play on the German team?
No, because those grandparents, your maternal grandparents, were born here as well of German descent.
Just getting farther and farther from the homeland.
Yes. If your grandparents are born in that a country, then you can go play for them. I don't know. Maybe you can. I don't know. Jaron Duran is playing for Mexico. He is an American of Mexican descent, but he has a tattoo of his grandmother and his aunt who were born and raised in Mexico. So he has a tattoo of his grandmother and aunt from Mexico, and so his Mexican tattoo makes him eligible. Play for Mexico. He'll play for them. And then here's my favorite one. Austin Wells. The catcher for the Yankees. Austin Wells, right? I mean, that dude's whiter than the dude sitting next to you. Hollywood Hogan. I mean, this is like one of the whitest dudes in the league. Austin Wells is playing for the Dominican Republic. Austin Wells was born in Arizona. He was raised in Las Vegas. He played at Bishop Gorman in Las Vegas. His family is from Arizona, born and raised. His parents are born and raised there. His mother's grandparents, follow me now, his mother's grandparents were from the Dominican Republic. He's playing for the DR. He's playing for the DR. And then I mentioned Marcus Stroman. Marcus Stroman played for the U.S., was the MVP for the U.S. when they won in 2017. And then last one, he played for Puerto Rico. Play for whoever. In 2009, a young Adam Ottavino played for Italy in the WBC. As a 23-year-old, he had not made his Major League Baseball debut yet. And he made a start for Italy in the 2009 World Baseball Classic through 3 scoreless innings against Venezuela. In 2023, he played for Team USA because he's born and raised in New York. He's born and raised in New York. This year, he's back on the Italian team at age 40. So he was Italian in 2009, he's American in 2023, and he's Italian again this year. I mean, this is very loosey-goosey rules. Born and raised in New York. Just absolutely crazy. Absolutely nuts. And if you missed it in the earlier game, Samurai Japan 13-0 mercy rule win over Chinese Taipei behind Otani. Otani was 4 for 5 with a granny in the game, 5 RBI. I told you, we don't need all these teams. We need a Caribbean team, a Latin team, whatever you want to call them. We need a U.S. team, and we need an Asian team. That's it. That's all we need. That's it. We don't need all these people. All right, let's grab a break. We'll come back. Phone lines are open. You want to jump on board, you can do it. 256-576-4977. Deshaun Watson's deal has been redone, giving the Browns a little bit of cap room. He is going to compete for the job. If he can't beat out Shadur Sanders, goodness gracious almighty. But what other athletes flashed early in their career, not just football, and then completely disappeared? I got some names for you. We'll be back. Thom Abraham Show.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
The crimson and white jerseys.
Front court to the rack and the plunge.
The sound of a buzzer beater.
Got it to go as the buzzer sounds.
The Roll Tide chant from the crowd. It can only be Alabama basketball. Join the Alabama Crimson Tide right here on your home for Alabama basketball.
Listen to Alabama basketball all season long on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com.
From heirloom diamonds to contemporary jewels, Loring & Company is the place to find something truly special. Whether shopping for a diamond ring for that once-in-a-lifetime occasion or marking a milestone birthday or personal achievement with a Rolex watch, you'll find just the thing in our edit of the world's most sought-after brands, including David Yurman, Roberto Coin, Marco Bicego, and Fopay. Expect a treasure trove of the world's most unique, even breathtaking earrings, rings, necklaces, and bracelets, making choosing just one piece a challenge in itself. Loring & Company Jewelers on Airport Road.
Normally, when you call a roofing company, all you hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Since 1965, the folks at Fleming have been focused on what you need, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement, commercial or residential. And when it comes to storm damage, you want Fleming on your side. They know all the ins and outs of insurance claims and will guide you through the entire process. Log on FlemingHSV.com and book your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
If hunting and outdoor recreation are your passions, it all starts with the right property. That's where I come in. I am Bo Butler with Southland Realty and Auction, a hunting and recreational land specialist and a Jackson County native who sees land through a hunter's eyes. Just as you trust your guide on a big game hunt, you can trust me to find the perfect property for you. Thinking of selling? Let me help you make your land attract buyers. Remember, Bo knows land. Call me at 256-609-0512.
From heirloom diamonds to contemporary jewels, Loring & Company is the place to find something truly special. Whether shopping for a diamond ring for that once-in-a-lifetime occasion or marking a milestone birthday or personal achievement with a Rolex watch, you'll find just the thing in our edit of the world's most sought-after brands, including David Yurman, Roberto Coin, Marco Bicego, and Fopé. Expect a treasure trove of the world's most unique, even breathtaking earrings, rings, necklaces, and bracelets, making choosing just one piece a challenge in itself. Loring & Company Jewelers on Airport Road.
Brian Bellamy State Farm Insurance, located in the Rosie's Shopping Plaza, strives to help customers find the best auto insurance, home insurance, life insurance, and more. No matter where you are in life, Brian Bellamy State Farm Insurance is here to help you find your best insurance and retirement needs. You can find them on the web at brianbellamyagency.com or call them at 256-539-7530. Brian Bellamy State Farm Insurance is a proud supporter of UAH Athletics and reminds everyone to go Chargers. Brian Bellamy State Farm, here to help life go right.
Westwood One presents Great Moments in Tournament History. Brought to you by John Deere. Nothing runs like a deer.
Honoring Hank and the highest scoring game in history. March of 1990. Loyola Marymount's Bo Kimball honors his fallen teammate and best friend Hank Gathers by shooting his first free throw of every game left-handed, just like Hank did before suddenly collapsing and dying days prior to the tournament. Led by Kimball, an emotionally charged Lions club advanced all the way to the Elite Eight before succumbing to eventual champion UNLV. Kimball scored 45 in an opening round win against New Mexico State, which set up a matchup against Michigan. Loyola Marymount walloped the Wolverines 149-115. That's the most points ever scored in a tournament game by one team, but it's the tribute to Big Hank by Bo that's remembered as another great moment in tournament history. I'm Kevin Kugler.
97.7 The Zone. 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This segment of the Tom Abraham Show is brought to you by USSSA Softball. If you're looking for a great tournament to put your team in, your high school level softball team in, you need to check out alfastpitch.uSSSA.com and find out where the best tournaments are. Anywhere throughout North Alabama, they've got great tournaments. Go ahead and check it out. alfastpitch.uSSSA.com. That's alfastpitch.uSSSA.com. The NFL on NBC. Hi, I'm Brian Gumbel with Bob Costas. That was the old Philip loved the NFL on CBS. The American Football Conference.
Sears was a thing back then.
Sears was the thing. On CBS, it was Brent Musburger. But you are looking live at Soldier Field on a cold day. Brent Musburger, Irv Cross, Jimmy DeGreek, Phyllis George. Yeah. They had Jimmy DeGreek on CBS, and NBC had Pete Axthelm doing their betting. And they both used the lines, and then the NFL made them stop using the betting lines. Now the NFL is in bed with the, books and stuff like that. But back then, the NFL was upset that Jimmy DeGreek and Pete Axthelm both used the lines in describing the game and said who was the favorite and things like that. Yeah. So they made him get away from it. But Jimmy DeGreek was fun. We don't have people like that anymore. His last name was Snyder, Jimmy DeGreek Snyder. And we don't have people like that anymore. And Jimmy DeGreek got fired by CBS. He was a legend. And he got fired by CBS. You know why he got fired by CBS?
Why is that?
Because Jimmy DeGreek went into this thing. Back then, there was a running back by the name of Norm Bulash and Don Nottingham. There were white running backs for the Baltimore Colts back in the day. So Jimmy DeGreek went into this whole thing about how black athletes are built differently than white athletes. And that white European athletes, they have a lower butt, they have bigger calves, and they have bigger thighs and hamstrings, but they're not built for speed. They're built for power. Whereas the black athlete, which, originates from Africa, the continent of Africa, and they were built with a higher butt. They're built more for running, longer hamstrings, and thinner calves. And it was just its evolution. He was talking about its evolution within, you can have evolution within creation. You can believe that God created the earth and people evolved based on the part of the world that they're from. Like Asian people, the reason they have heavy eyelids is because of the sandstorms and things like that in the deserts of Asia. And so they kind of morphed into that. People from Africa are dark skinned because of the equator and because of the protect them from the sun and things like that. People in Europe, they were built stocky. That's the way they were built. So anyway, he went into this whole thing about how people had different body types based on whether or not they were European, white, or from Africa. And he got fired because it was stereotypical. About 2 years later, O.J. Simpson, before he became the murderer, allegedly, O.J. Simpson said the exact same thing. The exact same thing about why African-American players generally have more speed. And it has to do with their heritage and their, coming from the continent of Africa versus the continent of Europe. It was like the same thing. And Jimmy Snyder got himself, fired for it. Crazy. All right. I mentioned the fact that Deshaun Watson, who had an amazing first 3 years of his career, and at 24 was one of the top 3 quarterbacks in the NFL. We forget. You go back and look at his numbers the last year he played, which I think was 2019. Deshaun Watson's played 19 games in the last 6 years. 6 years. In 6 years, he's played 19 games. So there are other guys. Now, can he bounce back? I mean, it would be something. If he were to bounce back, it would absolutely be something. But there have been other athletes that have flamed out. I'm not talking about like Robert Griffin, who got hurt after being a rookie of the year, or Andrew Luck, who decided that he didn't want to play anymore. They want to get banged up anymore. Or Clinton Portis is another guy like that. Bob Sanders is another guy like that. But Carson Wentz, remember Carson Wentz? I mean, he was like Josh Allen. Carson Wentz was amazing at the beginning of his career. And then he got paid. And I'm not saying it was because he got paid, but for whatever reason, Carson Wentz kind of went right in the tank. Rick Myra, it was the whole debate before the 93 draft was Rick Myra, Drew Bledsoe. Rick Myra, Drew Bledsoe. Rick Myra went second. Bledsoe went first. Myra went second out of Notre Dame. Rick Myra was the rookie of the year. He was the rookie of the year. His rookie year. Became a journeyman. Just became kind of a bum. Not a bum, but a journeyman. Played 10 or 11 years, but a journeyman. That kind of a guy. Vince Young was rookie of the year, right? Vince Young was rookie of the year for the Titans. Career never pans out.
They slapped him on a Madden cover at that.
I'm just rookie of the year on 2 plays. The play against the Giants when the guy gave up thinking he was sacked, in the scramble against the Houston Texans. He was rookie of the year. Baseball had Mark Fidrich. The Bird, Mark Fidrich, 19-win season. He was amazing. Just gone. Joe Charbonneau. Guys remember him? Kerry Wood in baseball. He had a 20 strikeout game. Just faded. Dontrell Willis is another one. It happens. All right, that's going to do it for the week. Have a great weekend. We'll talk to you on Monday.